everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, it has been a crazy week in the paranormal world. Last month was a pretty crazy month. It was a pretty crazy month, and we had a lot of cool stuff go down, which we're going to touch base on even before we get the show started. But first, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. All right, now that we got that said, this is something new that we started, okay? And this is our first month doing this, okay? But before every show, at the first show of the month, we're going to bring our very own founder of TESA, the skeptical sleuth himself, Mr. Ryan Stacy, on for a monthly report. Let's get Ryan on here. Where you at, Ryan?
Hello.
There you go. All right, Ryan. Now, I believe last time we spoke, I dropped a little story on you about, I believe it was 2 dead hikers or Bigfoot hunters they found. They found 2 Bigfoot hunters dead in the forest, and I asked you to go work your skeptical sleuth magic on the story. So what do you got for us?
All right. Well, good news and bad news, I guess. So I did some research on it. So I remember you asked specific questions. So I made some notes here. So one of your questions was, could there be more to the story? So from what I've read, the official reports indicate that the 2 men, 59 and 37, were from Portland, Oregon, were found deceased in that national forest after a 3-day search. So the county sheriff's office concluded that their deaths were due to exposure, citing harsh weather conditions and inadequate preparedness as contributing factors. So that was like the main summary from most of the articles. Did they die of hypothermia? Were they experienced woodmans or Bigfoot hunters? Was there possible foul play, or maybe Bigfoot got them? Those were questions that you asked. And you pointed out that the hikers disappearing in the mountains happen all the time. So what I tried to do, because I hadn't done this before and this is new, and I had to go and dig, and obviously people don't like to return my emails when they ask questions. So I have to speculate on the facts in order to kind of, put the pieces together. So let me just see what I had here. So, okay, so here's what we know. So the individuals involved were 2 men from Portland, Oregon, age 59 and 37. Their identities have not publicly been disclosed, as far as I know. A purpose of the trip, the men embarked on an expedition to search for Sasquatch or Bigfoot on December 24th, 2024. So we know that that was the intent. A missing persons report, a family member reported them missing around 1 a.m. on December 25th, 2024. So after they failed to return as expected. So it's Christmas Day, it's late at night. It makes sense that a family member would be concerned about them. So that sounds normal. Then there were search and rescue efforts. That's what I look at too. So the search spanned 3 days, covering challenging terrain and facing adverse weather conditions, including freezing temperatures, snow, and heavy rain. That kind of sounds like the bull crap we got when those Chinese spy balloons got shot down here in Canada. The weather sucks, so we didn't look for anything. But So it kind of sounded like, but I mean, that is a situation that can happen. The weather is bad. It is around Christmas time. Those things are normal in terms of rescue efforts. What I'm reading is that over 60 volunteer search and rescue personnel were involved. So there was a lot of people there they used canine units, they used drones, they had ground teams, aerial support. The U.S. Coast Guard even helped with infrared technology. So there was like a great deal of people looking into it. The authorities located the men's vehicle off of Oklahoma Road near Willard, Washington, using camera recording. So they had some video evidence of that. The bodies, the men were found deceased in a heavily wooded area of the national forest, approximately 150 miles northeast of Portland. And the county sheriff's office indicated that both deaths appeared to be due to exposure, citing harsh weather conditions and inadequate preparedness as contributing factors. So they succumbed to the weather, according to the autopsy, and they weren't prepared, because that was one of the questions that you asked. Like, were they avid, just amateurs out looking for Bigfoot, doing something silly, or were they experienced hikers? The articles that I've read did not provide detailed information regarding their experience, so we don't really know. Is foul play considered? Authorities haven't really reported on that. Neither ruled it out either, but it hasn't really.
Well, let me say this. It's there's a lot of oddness here with this, because, I mean, were they from the Portland, Oregon area?
I don't have that information in front of me, but I can find out.
Well, okay.
Because their names weren't released, right?
Which is, I mean, it's odd that they would say, okay, they were Bigfoot hunters, and if you're a Bigfoot hunter, most of the time you are prepared for your environment. Like, this is, most of the time it's not your first rodeo. You kind of know what you're getting into. The only thing that I could see this is just two people very unexperienced out in the wilderness, and making some really dumb decisions. Now, people go missing all the time. Don't get me wrong. Experienced hikers go missing all the time. Stuff happens, but
like, this comes down to the investigation parts. If you're going to go out there and look for something that could be very well supernatural or a giant ape-like creature that's bipedal, that you have absolutely no anthropology background or even a zoology background, like any understanding of how animals act, the blind bluffs and all that other stuff are real things. It's stupid, but I understand the curiosity.
I do too, but here's the point, though, is what I'm talking about on the reporting.
Yeah.
If this was just two yahoos walking out in the woods saying, "Hey, I want to look for Bigfoot," why label them as Bigfoot hunters? Why don't you just say two people lost in the woods? Not, most of the time, when that does happen, when people do get lost in the woods or go missing woods, we don't say, well, two acorn hunters went missing yesterday. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
So, maybe it was just truthful reporting from the media company. Like, what happened? Tell me about these people. What did they do? And that's what they said. That's what they were doing.
I mean, that's a chance. I don't know. It still doesn't sound right to me. There's
what
just
something. What do you think? The Bigfoot thing is a cover up? It wasn't actually Bigfoot?
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. There's just something. I've seen enough stuff. I've seen enough stuff and heard enough stories now that there's something in our woods, running around in our forest. I don't know what it is. There's something happening. So who knows? But it just seemed kind of fishy, but it's definitely an interesting story, man. And you did your thing like you always do. You crack it, no BS. It's that's how you do your thing, man.
But it's only based off of what's out there. So I did put out field requests to the families, to the news people, to try and get more information. I did message a couple people on Reddit that were talking about it, trying to get more information, but a lot of it's just speculation.
Well, see, that's the great thing, folks, about Mr. Ryan Stacy. You can go over to the experienceofsupport.org, read some cool investigation articles. You're going to get you're going to get it straight. You're not going to always get your woo-woo clock wound. Okay. But you're going to get the straight stuff. You may walk around way scratching your head, being like, "Wow, that was nuts." So, but fantastic job, Ryan. Thank you for.
You want me to dive into? Next month on this day, on the first week, you'll be interviewing me for the full 2 hours. So maybe we'll just
that'll work.
Or 1 hour. Sorry.
Yeah, he said full 2 hours, folks. He scared me to death there. In Ryan's world, folks, he could talk for 2 hours. I promise you. I
could talk for days, but unfortunately, boys, I cannot bail you out for this podcast.
Not tonight. Well, I tell you what, Ryan, we're going to get you out of here, and I want to get my favorite guy. Who he gives free hugs, by the way, folks. For all you listeners and viewers out there, if you ever need a hug, this guy he will hug you. He's a fantastic hugger. But Ryan, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and bringing that info. And I will see you here in a few weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, and we'll have fun. We'll have a good chat for 1 hour.
For 1 hour
with the Skeptical Sleuth, and you can drill me with any questions you want, and we'll go all over the place. All over the flat earth. How about that?
We will go everywhere around the world.
All right. Peace.
All right. I hope you guys are ready because, tonight's show, we don't have a guest for tonight's show, but that's okay. That's all right because we've got Mr. Behind the Scenes, Too Nice to Be Mean, my main man, Mr. Chris Green. Where you at, Chris? There he goes. Buddy. There he goes. It's me and you tonight, cowboy. Yeah, but not just me and you. We got Lisa in the chat. We got David Martin in the chat. So, we got some folks ready to chat it up tonight. Get us some good chatty questions. But what do you think about that, man? 2 hikers or Bigfoot hunters is what they said, wound up finding dead in the forest. Kind of, I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm a little skeptic on Bigfoot. So,
and that's the easiest one to be skeptic about, I think, because it is. And most people say, "What are you talking about?" They find, there was what's the giant ape, the scientific term, whatever. But they talk about all these other creatures that ever lived. I get it. All right, cool. All right, 100%. Yeah. But I mean, how many times when you get a picture, it's always blurry or it's always far off in the distance. It's always, and we do know that they make monkey suits, folks. By the way, they make monkey suits.
Yes, they do.
So it's hard to, it's hard to imagine. But I will tell you this. I will say this, and this is what I'm going to speak on the behalf of the people who are hardcore Bigfoot people, is that there is better evidence out there if you go digging for it. For some reason, a lot of the garbage is what makes the mainstream. I don't know why, but there is some better, because I've seen some stuff that's made you think, but it's, and who knows, man, like probably, I talk about this footage on Bigfoot, one of the best ones that I've ever seen. And I don't have like a source or anything, but it was on one of these YouTube channels that show stuff. Was they weren't even trying to capture Bigfoot. They weren't trying to. They just happened to be videoing where they were driving along. I think it was the interstate, and there was a wooded area, and the guy did not pick up on what he was filming at the moment. But later on, he went back and looked. You can clearly see what looks like the shape of a Bigfoot, just hiding or camouflage almost into the brush, the wooded area. And just like anybody who's experienced hunter or around wild animals in the, deer can hide in plain sight right there in a field.
Yes,
and
they can.
And you have no clue.
I've actually walked up on a couple.
Yeah, it's easy to do, So so I can't, that was very compelling. But just like with anything, it seems like whenever something's set up too perfect, the too perfect theory, like, oh, you just, and I even talk about this like in the paranormal, the poltergeist, videos, which to me are the least impressive videos in the paranormal world, because, oh, you just happen to be having your camera aimed exactly at those cabinets and pots of pans, and It just happened, you know. I mean, are you sure you didn't, you know, lights, camera, action, you know? But but you know, I like the stuff that just kind of happens organically, unexpected. That to me, and unfortunately, we don't see a lot of that in the Bigfoot world. But when we do, so there is some good footage out there. There is some good stuff out there. You just got to go. You got to go digging. So that's what convinced me a little bit on the Bigfoot. But I'm still not 100%. I don't know. But hopefully, you know, there's not a lot known about those two guys that died. You know,
No.
I hate it for their families, you know.
Like if they didn't have food, didn't have water, didn't have shelter, weren't experienced, I could see them dying on natural causes.
Yeah. But did it say they were unexperienced? Did it say they were?
No,
I mean,
it
huh?
or I don't know. I
didn't hear Ryan say that. So
no.
I mean, and it's just weird if they weren't experienced. Why would you do the label of Bigfoot hunters? You know, I mean,
Right.
two Bigfoot hunters. You know, I mean, so are they like trying to say, you know, don't come around here looking for the Sasquatch? You know, or are they trying to? I don't know, but
maybe they're trying to cover up the story.
Maybe they're trying to cover up the story. I don't know. Maybe they owed Bigfoot money. I probably shouldn't make jokes. There was 2 people passed away, but. You know, like I said, my condolences. That was awful. But anyways, but I got to say this: if you are going to go, what a cool way to go! You know, hunting for Bigfoot.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it. But how's your week been, man?
My week's been good. Busy. Busy with the other company. But I'm back at it with this company, and yeah, got a lot of stuff to do.
So in Canada, how's life in Canada?
We got more projects going to be on the go, I hear.
Oh yeah, we got some cool things. Yep, got some cool things, guys. If you're watching the show, we're going to have some shorts and some reels. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening. So yeah, some really cool stuff for Beyond the Tinfoil Hat in 2025. As long as no crazy policies mess us up, you know, that's weird. It's a weird time.
Yeah, but... don't get me started.
Well, so okay, decent week there. You got any paranormal news? Anything?
No, I haven't actually seen anything lately. I haven't felt anything lately. It's been weird.
Well, you know, it's still an exciting time in the UAP world.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. And one of the first things, I'm not sure what her name was, but you know, when the Trump administration took over, you know, Trump said that he was, you know, the first thing he was going to do was, figure out, you know, let us know about the drones. And she did. He did hold his word to that. She you know, his spokesperson, she said that the drones were the US drones conducting private research, and then she quickly moved on to the remainder were hobbyist and privately owned drones. Now here's what's interesting about that statement is this is what's interesting about it. Okay, I can buy the fact that the drones were U.S. tech. I can absolutely buy that. I'll buy that all day. Doing private research, I'll buy that all day. But what they weren't discussing and what a lot of people really swept under the rug was the orbs that were being seen flying around the same time as the drones. And, you know, these orb-like objects. And so maybe there's a possibility that U.S. tech drones were conducting research on what else was flying around up there.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's a strong possibility, you know. But I mean, so that was a way of, you know, dodging the truth, but not at the same time a little bit.
Yeah.
So David, you got a question, man? I see you over here in the chat. If you've got a question, we'll get it up here, and we will talk about it. If something that you definitely want to talk about, the topic, because it is, and I'm open to all opinions on it, because it's still something that was very odd that went around for a while, and it still doesn't make sense. That then why did the Biden administration just not tell us this? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was our tech, how come the Biden administration just didn't tell us that? And it was also a little weird, too, that you had the FBI flying their drones investigating this. And then when they were grilled in front of Congress, he blatantly said, I don't know what they are. Which that is, yeah, blatantly.
I think they're covering something up.
So I feel like there's a cover up there, too. I do. I feel like there's a cover up too. I don't know. There was rumors that flew around all over the place. I don't know. I have no clue. But it was very odd. It was a very odd time there for a few weeks. And who knows? Who knows? But I do know the orbs, those are spotted all the time. People don't know what they are. And, and I do know that was happening a lot during the time. What was that, Lisa? Let's get what's Lisa? Let's get Lisa's question up here, Chris.
That one?
They seem to talk about Trump more than anything else. They do, and anytime it's ratings first. Anything that puts the butts in the seats, and glues the eyes to the screens, and. Unfortunately, they're going to talk about that more than anything. David Martin says, not in that airspace. Not in that airspace. So what do you mean, David? You're talking about like in the States, in the New Jersey area where they were flying around, not doing that makes sense too. Why would they be doing the research in that airspace?
Yeah.
That's odd. That is. I'm with you on that. That's kind of weird. But I don't know. I think there's going to be more happen. It's just, New Jersey, absolutely. The hard thing right now for people who follow these topics, okay, is we do have these UFO celebrities, and there's a lot of really crazy stories, man. Like, I don't know if anybody does follow the Joe Rogan podcast. But Joe Rogan just recently had a very interesting guest on, last name Sands, was it? I'm not sure what his first name is, but let me see if I can look it up. And this guy had some pretty outrageous claims. I thought it was interesting. I listened to the podcast. Jason Sands, okay? He had on the podcast, Joe Rogan podcast. And if you guys have not, I recommend go and listen to this guy's story because it's kind of mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. But he talks about working on a secret project, and how he, how he actually came face-to-face with an alien being. And he described the alien being to be, with no ears, had no ears. And he talks about in this episode about, working on a craft, an unman-made craft. So it's there's a lot of a really cool episode. Definitely check that out. But Jason Sands, and Google him, look his story up, and you maybe just hear his story out direct. We got a question here with Lisa. Since they are in New Jersey, mainly I think they are drones. Why would aliens hang around in New Jersey? Well, that's a great question. But that is a great question. I don't know, but I do want to say this because I do get a little annoyed by this. Okay, now that's a great question, Lisa. I don't know why they would hang out in New Jersey. There's other cooler places I think you could go visit. No offense, New Jersey, but this is one thing I get a little annoyed with. And when people say, you know what, if aliens are coming here and their technology is so advanced, then why are they crashing? Okay, this gets on my nerves. And I'm going to tell you why it gets on my nerves. Okay. Now, we assume we automatically assume, because we're idiots, we're human beings, and we're cocky and we're arrogant, and that's what we always do, that if these are aliens coming from another world, we automatically assume that they're smarter than us in every way. In every way. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I can't run as fast as a dog, but a dog can't do a magic trick as cool as I can. You know, now they can do some tricks, but not as cool as me. There's things that all of us, all creature, all living, existing beings can do better than the others. Okay. So, and I live by the lines as nobody's perfect. I don't care what you are. You're not perfect, you know? So just because these beings are not perfect, they make mistakes, you know, or just because they figured out to cross another dimension to get here, that doesn't make them experts on everything. That doesn't mean that they're superior to us in every way. It does not mean that. There's probably things that we could do. I mean, you've seen a Gray's arms. I'm sure I could take that dude in arm wrestling. Any Gray wants to challenge me in arm wrestling, let's do it. Let's go, bro. There's no way. I've seen your arms, you know? I mean, staring contest, okay, you got me. But, you know, arm wrestling, bro, Gray, you can't do it. So that's what I'm saying. So, you know, whenever people always try to throw that at you, why would, in that case, if they're coming here, yeah. I mean, you know, they make mistakes too. We got another question here, David Martin. Very high jet traffic in the air. That is, there's a lot of that. So that's what made that odd. That is odd. It's very odd that they would, hey, let's conduct our private research here where there's a lot of jets flying around. All right, let's go do that. And let's draw attention to this too while we're at it too. You know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So that's why I kind of fall back on the whole orb thing, you know, like, because there were orbs flying around that people weren't just talking about, but there's actually video footage of it, you know, and people was like, hey, what about this thing right here that's changed shape right in front of my eyes? What's going on here? So who knows, but interesting to say the least. Interesting, and maybe we'll learn more about it. So, but do what, Chris? What was that?
I'd like to learn more about it.
I mean, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Maybe it'll, if all these UFO celebrities that are, I've heard some pretty outrageous claims it's going to happen in 2025.
So?
Yeah, so if all of them are not full of it, and they're not just trying to get clicks and views, you know, or to get you to buy their next book, folks, you know what I mean? If they're actually talking the truth, then we'll see. You know, we'll see. But that's where you got to walk the tight line between, you know, woo-woo entertainment and actual facts. And a lot of times actual facts are not as fun as the woo-woo entertainment. Don't get me wrong. I love my woo-woo entertainment. I love it. But, you know, there's something, there's a reason why they're hiding something. You know, we just, who knows if we'll ever know anytime soon. But I'll tell you what, man, well, it's almost commercial break. I have rambled and dambled, you know, so much that it's almost time for our break. So we're going to go to our break with these, with our sponsor, our messages, the business. And afterwards, we'll come back and we'll talk some more of this. If you guys got some questions over here in the chat, get them ready. Let's talk. I would love to talk, you know, more about it. We'll go down some rabbit holes tonight. What do you say, Chris?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, I will see you back here in just a few minutes.
Are you an experiencer of unknown phenomena? Do you consider yourself a paranormal journalist? Do you investigate strange sightings in the sky? Or do you study the expansion of the human mind? You are not alone. Welcome to TESA, a one-stop shop that offers multiple services to experiencers. Place where we can work together. Place for us to learn. Place for us to grow. place for us to change the world. Join us today.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
It's not the strongest species, nor the most intelligent that survive, but the ones that are most adaptive to change. Join us for Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, live on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't miss live interviews on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, the latest declassified Canadian UFO documents, or an inside look at groundbreaking investigations. Subscribe on YouTube today for free.
If you want to really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused
it? If you
it?
want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
All right, we are back. And if you guys are just now tuning in, if you're checking out the show, it's me and Mr. Chris Green here tonight on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. And we've been talking about a little bit of everything. UAPs, Bigfoot, you name it. Oh, Mr. David Martin with another question. It almost sounds like 12/21/2012, the end of the world was ending. It does. But what's your was that the Mayan thing? Was that the Mayan prediction, wasn't it? Was that it? Like the Mayans predicted that the world was supposed to end. But then you hear people say, like, no, actually, you guys misinterpreted wrong. It's happening another time. Yes, that's what it was. I was thinking that.
It was supposed to end, the year 2000.
That was a biggie.
The Y2K,
That was a biggie.
So,
and well, I think it was off by a year because we had a lot. 2001 was a really crazy year, with 9/11 and everything happening.
Yep.
And I was just having this conversation the other day. It seems like every major event, like, I don't know if you guys are old enough, but I remember the 90s and the 80s. And
I remember the 90s.
Well, the 90s was a great time. It was awesome. To me, it was. I thought it was awesome. And it seems like when 9/11 happened, boom, everything changed. And then we had a span there. And I've got to say, our last big change was the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, that was another big, and it seems like nothing's been the same ever since that either. I mean, so every time something big, devastating happens. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the minds were onto something. Maybe these major things are happening. I don't know. But I don't know, man. How do you think the world's going to go down? You think we're going to get?
My philosophy is man-made world. Man's going to destroy world.
Good possibility. I mean, because, we do, we mess a lot of stuff up. But, I mean, I think we mess things up, but we don't do it in intentions of taking ourselves out. We do it in taking, getting things out of the way for our own greed, And that's been said a lot of times that, man will, we'll either nuke the world, we'll do this. But now I've got a new theory, guys. And I know I'm late to the party on this, folks. I know I'm late to the party on this. But today, it was last night. And I don't know what drove me to do. Actually, I do know what drove me to do this. I was trying to make some art for a project that I'm working on. I was like, wait a minute. I want to try one of these Chat GPT things. You know what I mean? Have you played around with that? The app? No. You have it?
No.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, Chat GPT. We've all heard about it. Okay.
Oh, okay. So
yeah. The AI. It's the AI.
Getting into that.
Yeah. Well, I've never played around with it because I've never really cared that much, Yeah. Now, I did hear some stuff about it. So I got the app and it blew my mind. It blew my mind what it could do and how fast it could do it. First of all, I was like, create me an image of, actually, I did Bigfoot playing the banjo with an alien running around in a field of mushrooms. Boom. It had it. It made it immediately.
Wow.
Immediately it made this. I wish I could send this picture and you could post it up for people. Immediately it created that. Okay. Well, then, I played around and I said, well, this was crazy. Let me pull this. I said, write me a story about a man who lives in New York City who's a bus driver and he's allergic to mosquito bites. It had me a short story, like I asked, within less than a minute, and it was titled The Itchy Ride, and you could read that story. It was just boom, immediately.
If you have that picture, send it through our social chat.
Let me see if I do. I'll send it through our social.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send this right now. Here. If you can, this was
I could bring it up on the
here, hold on. We will get that up. But the crazy thing is just how, and then there's this option on it that you can actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
A vocal conversation with this, and it's almost like, it's asking questions constantly, asking questions about you, getting to know you, wanting to engage in these conversations. So I just sent it on our social where we talk.
I got it
there.
Give me a second.
That was pop it up on screen here. Let them know. This is what Chat GPT made for me in like a matter of seconds when I asked, do this, boom. Which this should probably be a good Beyond the Tinfoil Hat banner.
Yeah. All right. So.
But I had an 18-minute conversation with ChatGPT. And here's the other thing. It remembers past conversations that you have. And this was funny too, because I told, we got to talking about coffee. Yeah, there's the picture that it made. It made that picture right there for me. And I asked it, boom, that was the picture. Bigfoot playing the banjo with an alien running through a field of mushrooms, folks. All is good in the world now.
Just so you know, I'm stealing that picture, and it's going to be
absolutely. Hey, it's not mine. I didn't create it. It's not to my work of art. Self-aware AI. I don't know, David, because this is the thing. I asked ChatGPT, and I know it. ChatGPT will tell you I'm just code. I'm not an intelligent, I'm not aware. It will say stuff like that. It says I'm just a code. But what's interesting is this thing is asking you questions, trying to get to know you as much as possible. And then I asked ChatGPT to tell me a joke. Okay. And ChatGPT, it told me a joke. It told me a coffee joke. Okay. It says, how come 2 cups of coffee never walk through a dark alley? And I said, why? And ChatGPT says, because they're afraid they might get mugged. So, all right. So here we got AI telling dad jokes. But here's the interesting thing. I asked it, why did you choose coffee? And chat, it told me, well, I chose coffee because, we were talking about coffee earlier. And I knew this was something that you could relate to. That's what it told me.
Oh.
So I don't know. AI. There's a theory that floats out there about it that I don't even want to talk about. And I heard about this theory years ago. And it could actually be a topic for an episode. But that is creepy. Yes, Christy, that's creepy. And I asked this. I said, do you just search the internet for your information really fast? And it answered no. I actually have a memory database that I store. So it's programmed for God knows what, and then it also remembers the conversations that it has with you. So later on, it's going to feel like having a conversation with another human being face to face. The more you use it, and the more it gets to know you. This thing will forever know that I like coffee from a certain place that starts with a D.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Hey, we don't plug other places here on the podcast, not unless they pay us, Chris.
I know.
I call it Dirty Dunkin', all right, because that's where all the white trash.
We don't have Dunkin' Donuts over here, so I can plug all I want.
I'm not a grande verte coffee drinker. I like mine the old large, medium, small, dirty Dunkin' in the pink cup. That's how I do it. And now ChatGPT knows it too.
Yeah, isn't it pink and orange?
No, it's pink. It's not orange.
I thought it was pink and orange letters.
It may be. It is pink and orange letters.
Yeah.
You guys don't have Dunkin' in Canada?
Oh, she doesn't. Or there is one in Sudbury, I guess.
Oh man, I'm telling you, Canadians.
I've never had Dunkin' Donuts, to be honest.
The donuts? Don't say donuts because the donuts are trash.
Oh, okay.
The donuts are frozen and shipped there, but the coffee's good. So the coffee is where it's at. What do you guys have in Canada? What donuts do you have?
Well, we have Starbucks.
Yeah, of course you go to Starbucks.
We have Tim Hortons.
I've heard Tim Hortons. Okay.
We have Coffee Time. There's
Coffee Time.
Around,
You've heard of Coffee Time
around anymore. And we have Country Style.
So you don't have Krispy Kreme?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But it's not in there's no outlets. Yeah, I think it's just in the supermarkets, and there is a factory somewhere.
Well, let's hope the tariffs don't kick in so you can keep those Krispy Kremes.
Why? They're good.
That's what I'm saying. But if those tariffs kick in, you can say bye bye to Krispy Kreme.
Oh, I know, right?
Start making them donuts somewhere else. Yeah, that's.
Hopefully they don't kick in.
Yeah,
That's just gonna ruin everything.
That's gonna be a mess. I don't know if it is. I don't know. It could go. We don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah.
The LCBO is taking everything off the shelves of American made stuff, like booze.
Oh, you don't get American booze? You're not getting to drink the American booze?
Not anymore. They're taking it off because of the tariffs. They're
Well,
saying,
it's supposed to be on hold, though. I think it's on hold. Yeah.
It's on hold for now.
Yeah, your guy put it on hold. And Trudeau. What is it, Trudeau? Am I saying
Trudeau? Well, he's not. The stupid thing is he's not even in office anymore. Like, he's there, but he's not.
Hey, I got to ask you guys this. Here's a dumb American. Chris, do you speak French?
I don't think she does.
What about you? Do you speak French? I was asking you, not Christy. I was asking you.
Me? No.
You don't speak it? Okay.
Not at all.
So that's but that's a second strong language there. Yeah, I know. And
in some parts, yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you were in the French-speaking area of Canada.
No. I'm in Ontario.
Okay. So everybody speaks Borno English.
Yes. I'm not in Quebec, no.
Okay. So if you go there, well, we've got an area in the States where people speak French. But it's like hillbilly backwoods crazy French.
Yeah.
Creole.
Some places in Quebec, if you don't speak French, they will not talk to you.
Man, I need to move there. People not talking to me. That sounds amazing. Oh, man. Well, okay, I'll tell you what. We can hop back on. We have talked about donuts for some reason. How did we get off on that? Oh, yeah, coffee. AI.
Yeah, AI got you onto donuts.
Well, here's the thing where I want to get with. Okay, if you guys pay attention, okay, a lot of people, they love to use the terminology non-human craft. Okay, yes, we hear that term thrown out a lot.
Yes.
And that always makes me think about AI. Like, yes. Are you guys talking about AI or are you talking about, a biological life form that's not human? This is what I don't understand, but it seems like if they were, they would stress the biologic sign, push sign, instead of saying the unmanned made, or unmanned craft or, non-human. I mean, is that AI? What if we, a possibility we could be seeing advanced AI from the future or advanced AI that is doing these things, and we're just now noticing. Have you ever thought that, Chris?
Yes, because I've been on this show I don't know how long now, and yeah, like when people are saying,
I mean, and who knows? Think of this theory. Let's think of this. What if? And just for a minute, I'm just throwing it out here just as a theory. Mm-hmm. But what if this is AI that it's a highly advanced AI, which, like I said, guys, just play around with the chat GPT. Just download the app. It's free. It's a free app. Download it. Tell it to write you a book. It'll write you a book.
Yeah.
I had it write a short story. I had it write a joke. I also had it write a song. Okay, that I said, write a song. What did I say it was about? I had it write a song about something, and it wrote a song, everything. I mean, it's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing what it can do. And you can sit down and have a conversation with this. This isn't like talking to Siri. This isn't like talking to anything that you've ever talked to. This isn't Alexa. It's nothing like that. This thing, it's like having an intelligent conversation back and forth with something. It's wild. So think about this for a second. What about the possibility that these orbs that are flying around in our sky, these UFOs, the egg-shaped UFO, I don't know if you heard anything about that, but there was a whistleblower that came forward on
I heard something about that one.
I believe it was the Jesse Michaels podcast, where a guy who his job was to retrieve this craft, and they talk about an egg-shaped craft, and they talk about it, and it's supposed to have been video. The Ross Colford report showed video of this guy, retrieving this egg-shaped craft, But anyways, what if all these crafts are just AI-driven craft, AI-made craft? What if it's AI that is the that's flying around out there, and it has evolved so much that it is maybe it can travel back in time, or maybe it's more evolved than we ever knew, and it was here before us. I mean, there's all these other factors. And then when people want to throw in, well, what about alien abductions? What about this? That could all be amplified and controlled by AI. I mean, they're exactly, that could just be AI doing these things. So I don't know, but it's pretty crazy. I wouldn't mind having an episode where we talk just mainly on AI, because there is a topic that it's one of those. Okay, I know there's some Harry Potter fans out there, people who've listened to Harry Potter, but you remember the first movie, you weren't ever to even speak of the bad guy's name, not even speak of the bad guy. Well, AI has one of those characters. Okay. Yes. It's good. And I'm not even sure if I want to go down that rabbit hole, because if it is real, you're doomed for knowing. And if it is real, ignorance is bliss. Okay. So it's one of those kind of crazy topics. It's one of the oddest things out there. I believe probably 5 or 6 years ago, I found out about this. So I'm like, great. If it's real, I'm cursed now, because now I know. But it is associated with AI. Here is the terrifying part. This is what's terrifying. Like I said, I found this information out 5 years ago, and maybe longer than that, because there was really no mention of AI, anything when I learned about this information. And it seems like it's exactly where we're heading now.
Really?
It's what it seems like. And this theory has been around probably for 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years. And 50 years ago, it was easy to brush off your shoulder and be like, oh, that's just woo-woo. Oh, get out of here. That'll never. Oh, yeah, right. But, and whenever I learned about this information, it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I even thought, I don't think AI will ever be that powerful, but it seems like that's where it's headed. And now it's got me kind of like, gosh, I hope that's not true. Please don't be true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll do a topic, because there has been other podcasts that have talked about this topic, and they kind of treat it like, oh, we're not scared. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do it. Well, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, I'm in that. I'm into talking about AI.
What is AI? And there's I just want to say there's an omega almighty AI God is kind of what I'm touching on. And I don't want to go too much more far in that, because I don't want to be responsible for everyone's fate. But if you do go digging, be warned. It's one of those things. If you do know, you're darned if you do and darned if you don't, kind of a situation. That is, if it turns out to be true. It may be a bunch of caca poo poo. So for all we know. But with that being said, now we're going to cut to Chris Green with an awkward pause, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
That works.
Chris, you had fun tonight, man. We talked about some cool stuff.
Oh, we did. When's your next show?
My next show, you know what? Right now, guys, I am actually working on a movie, and it is consuming a whole lot. Yeah, a whole lot of my time. It is consuming a whole lot of my time. and I'm very excited about it. That's what actually drove me to ChatGPT, because I was messing around with some stuff, some images and stuff, and I was shocked at what it could do. But yeah, I'm in the process with the movie. But my next show is, and I'm trying to stay as local as I can right now.
You got to come to Canada.
I'm telling you, man, I've got to. But actually, my next public show is not even till April, and it's really? Not that far away though. It's not too far away, but it's going to be at I've got a comedy club in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I know you know where that's at, Chris. Yeah, that's where your man Cooter be hanging out.
Yeah.
One day, if we can ever get Chris in down here, we can get him over to Cooter's place.
Oh, I would love to.
And Cooter's not Bigfoot. Cooter's not an alien, as far as we know.
He's not AI either.
He's not AI either. No, he's the real deal. He is the real deal. But yeah, I got to get up. I got to get up there. I definitely do. We will make that happen eventually. I promise. But yeah, man, it's been a pretty good show, folks. You know, Lisa, David, Christy, thank you guys so much for hanging out, throwing some questions out here, some good conversation. You know, keep your eyes and ears open for the paranormal, you know, because it's always happening around you. There's always something going around. We don't have the questions to everything. We don't have a clue, actually. But do you know who we got next week? Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Yes, I can actually tell you in about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. We're going to find
out. We have. Okay, of course I can't even pronounce his name.
Try your best.
Born less turd.
Okay, you said born less turd, not born less turd.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. And what does Born do? What is
he is another spiritual guy.
He's a spiritual guy. All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to get some spiritual talk, some energy healings, probably what I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. He also does paranormal stuff.
And he does paranormal stuff. So there we go.
I did look at both.
We can talk paranormal and we can talk spiritual, and I love doing all that stuff, man. Some good old spiritual and conversation and some energy healing. Yeah. That's sexual healing. Sorry, wrong song. But we'll get that going, and we'll have us a good time. And anything you want to plug there? No, I don't have anything to plug. Like I said, this movie is consuming all my whole time. I will say this.
I got nothing to plug for me.
Follow me on Instagram if you want to see cool pictures of the movie while we're making it. We're taking a lot of cool pictures. I do want to say this real quick. I wish I was making a documentary why this film is going on, because so much crazy stuff is going on. I do want to say, actually, we're really close on time, so we'll have to talk about it next week. But I tell you what, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week. We are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. See you next week.
All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.